Welcome to Section 4, Fingerprinting Web Servers and Applications. In this section, we are going to learn how to gather more information from web servers and web applications in an effort to learn more about our targeted environment. Specifically, we're going to focus on using Maltego. Then we're going to discuss how to use P0F. Then we're going to move on to using LBD. So some very useful tools that we have available for us in this section. In this video, we are going to discuss how to use Maltego to gather information and visualize it. So we're going to learn what Maltego is and its overall purpose. We will take a look at how to use Maltego, and then we will discuss the results that come out and what you could actually do with the information that Maltego generates. In this video, we are going to take a look at a tool called Maltego. This is actually a pretty powerful tool as far as the information gathering and footprinting of an environment goes, because it can get you a lot of information very quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do is, while we're talking about it, we're going to start the process of using this product. And what we'll do is we will start it up here by going to Machines. And what I'm going to do is run a machine. And this is really going to run a process where it gathers information for us. And it's going to run a predefined set of processes to get that information. So I'm going to say Run Machine. And then it brings me up this wizard, which would be another in the Windows world, that's what they call it. And so I am going to see what type of information I can get. Now, you can see it's got a few things built in here. These are, different ways it has of gathering, information. So there's quite a bit already here, so I'm just going to go ahead to keep it simple. I'm going to choose Footprint L1. This will get me some of the simplest information to go with or associated with a domain. So I'm going to say Footprint L1. I click Next and ask me what the domain name is, and that's where when I put the domain name in, I would choose, my specific target. So in this case, if I wanted to put in a news site, let's say I'll put in, something like a common news site. Okay, so I'll put in this. Now, what I do is when I click Finish, it's actually going to start running. You can see it's doing some stuff down there at the bottom. It's actually querying that domain and extracting information from it. Okay, so this information does take a little bit of time, or to gather this information does take a bit of time, but it's worth it. It actually streamlines the process of footprinting dramatically. So we are seeing that this deal is running. Okay, so if we are letting it do its thing here, I'll kind of zoom out here just a bit so you can see the extent of the information it's gathering. So what I have here is you can see the main domain that I queried. These are other pieces of information it found. What you're seeing here is if you go over here to the left and start moving through, we can see different types. There's a name server. There's a blog that that it found associated with this. And if you double click on this stuff, it will give you information relating to that. So if we go through, there is another piece of information. There's SMTP, so there's mail information or mail server that's picking up there. So it went through and is extracting records from DNS, and you can see down here where the color code is telling you right away that if I scroll this up, that it's saying DNS name. So all the stuff in maroon here is DNS information. Okay, so we see the domain, and then we see DNS information hanging off of that. Okay. Over here, we see the website. So these are services over here. This is the actual website. This is the part that you would see in your browser. Then we go underneath that, and we see, it found the IP address associated with, the specific item. So that's, kind of nice for us to have that. Here is a net block info, so if we double click on that, that's the range of IPs it found this exists within. So that's kind of handy. It's like to give us anything else. And there we go. There's the IP range that it found. And so it's just going through. Here's who owns that specific net block. So that'd be valuable. That's definitely something that would be handy to us when we do our scanning and stuff like that later. Okay, we go down, one step further. We can see that we have additional information. Here's some AS information. Then we, go down a little further. There's even, more stuff being drilled down in here. So we got a substantial amount of information already at this point, but you actually can get more. One of the things that Maltego does, it allows you to right-click on something, and it allows you to run things called transforms. And these transforms will be used to gather additional information out of whatever entity you specify. So if I say server technologies, if I click on that, it's going to tell me, I'm going to gather some information from that website, see if I can learn what server technologies it has. And I'm going to accept the disclaimer that it's going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and it's going to do its little data mining there. See what it can find out. So you can see down at the bottom, it's running transform to server. Okay, so boom. Let's see what we got here. So there is, it looks like there's the website. What does it have? We hover over this stuff. Okay, looks like we have, some different technologies. Over here it says this is Telium, Google API, something called, Criteo. So, and we're seeing this, if you look over here on the right-hand side, you're seeing when I hover over something, you're seeing what the technology actually is. So there's some Facebook, Gannett. So Gannett is the head company that owns this news outlet whose website I put in here. So plenty of things, showing up in here. Probably most of these are ad services and tracking services, but we're gathering some, some good data. And some of the stuff, if you right-click on it, there will actually be additional transforms. This one says it can't break it down any further. It says you've gone as far as you can go. Other stuff, when you right-click on it, if you right-click on some of these things, it will have additional transforms. That will tell you if it can find other, things on it. And it will try to query that domain to see, is there any other, or that entity, and see if it can find any additional information on it. So IP address I click on, right-clicked on this one, said transform, find me an IP address associated with that. It'll take a second. And if it's successful, it will go ahead and spit out an IP address corresponding to that. Now keep in mind, Maltego, that is with Kali, is kind of limited as far as how many entities it can retrieve initially, and you can actually expand that out if you right-click on stuff after you've got it. You can right-click and run additional transforms to get more information, but it's something that, again, that has a lot of stuff built in out of the box. It can get quite a bit done automatically, but it only goes so far right out of the box on the Community Edition, which is what you have in Kali. If you go to the people that actually make Maltego, they have a licensed version that digs in much, much deeper than what we're seeing here. But still, this is still a pretty good start to it. You may not need to ever have the Community Edition. So that is Maltego. You can see that this one did not yield me an IP address, like I was asking it to or expecting it to. It did not yield an IP address, which, heck, I may not have given enough time, or it just couldn't give me a specific one for that quite yet. But in any case, that is Maltego, and it showed you how it helps you visualize information and the relationships. That's what it's really, really good for, is showing you not just the information, but showing you how it relates. Because I can look at a graph like this and see, okay, I know exactly how these things are interlinked and interwoven to make up this specific item. It makes it very, very easy to see these patterns. So it has a lot of value for us. But that is Maltego and how it works. In this video, we discussed what the purpose of Maltego is. We looked at some of the results that it generates and some of the options you have as far as configuring and getting it to do different things. And then we analyzed these results to see what we were actually getting and how we could use this information for further efforts we have coming.